Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where this episode we're going to work on our final currently accepted viewer contract, and then we'll need to go through and accept more, of course. But first I want to hop into the mission control here. Right, that's the landing one. But what I really wanted to do, I couldn't remember if we had grabbed that or not, but what I really wanted to do is I wanted to go to this moon cheese outpost here, and I wanted to transmit some of the science that we've collected here. Not that we need it for this contract, I just want to get this cleaned up while I'm thinking about it, because otherwise I'm gonna forget. So we need to start talking a little bit about what the structure of this space station for Robin Pattinell's station is going to look like. It does say that we can do it in one launch or in multiple sections and dock it together in orbit. That's probably the route that we're going to end up taking. We could certainly do it in one. Oh, it's currently nighttime here. Indeed it is. We're going to warp forward a little bit here and bring it on around to daytime. That's going to be a bit. Okay, there we go. Now we've got power. Fantastic. So we are going to transmit some science here. I'm betting our electric charge is going to be a bit problematic. Yeah, so we're going to stop our research for right now. We're going to let our power build up. Do we have enough to transmit our data here? I don't know. We definitely need to allow partial, and then we'll transmit this science. Not enough useful findings. Oh, we only have 0.476 here. Okay, well, we'll continue our research then. That's absolutely fine. So I do think that we're going to bring this station up in, I think, 3 parts. It will be expandable to additional parts later. But the 3 parts that I think we're going to have is going to be the core section, which is going to contain, I think, some fuel storage, which is something that we do need. It's going to contain the cupola module. Oh, we've got this lighting bug going on. Or is it, No, this must be the lighting bug. We're going to hop into the VAB. It's fine. It's not a big deal. So the center core here is going to have the cupola module, for sure. And I do want to have a crew complement of 4 on this. The contract specifies a crew complement of 1. I want to have a crew complement of 4. This is going to be 2 scientists, an engineer, and a pilot. But, like it says here, it should have a probe core. This should always be crewed, but have you seen some of our Kerbal knots? Yeah, I've seen Madbro. I fully understand it. I fully understand that. So, we're going to have this be things like communications. It's going to have some fuel. It's going to have engines on it as well, which the other sections are not going to have. So we're going to call this This is, I want up here. Robin Pattinell's. This might be too long to put reuse, recycle, RUD in here. I'm not sure. Recycle, RUD, station core. Okay. It doesn't quite fit there, but that'll be fine for now. So we're going to have our cupola module here. That's great. We need storage for LFO and monoprop. I plan on having the LFO storage be here anyway. So for now, what we're going to do is we're going to put a Jumbo 64 tank here. This will be our liquid fuel storage. We're going to move this around a little bit, and we're also going to have a poodle. So our primary station propulsion will be here in the core. Then we're going to have expandability on here. So we're not going to have it expandable necessarily in this direction. It's going to be expandable in these directions. So like that. That'll be fine. And we're going to put in docking ports. I'm going to do 4 of them. Just like this. So we'll have this be expandable in the 4 directions. For now, we're only planning on having these 2 be utilized. These docking ports could, in theory, be used for the Kerbin launch/lander mission vessel and a refueler. The contract does state that we need docking capacity for 3 vessels. This will be 2. So we're going to need docking capacity on the other modules as well, and that is the plan. We are planning to have additional docking capacity there. I'm planning to have it be vertical in those locations, and then also docking capacity out to each side. So that's the idea. Now we'll need some form of power generation here. We don't have like Gigantors. Eventually I would like to put Gigantors on here. We're going to do very, very small power generations for the core. We can always add in a module for power later. For now, all we're going to do is this. And I don't think I talked about what the other two modules are going to be. Those are going to be the operations module, which is like docking ports, and it would be additional storage for fuel, things like being able to create fuel in theory if we bring ore up. I don't know if that's a thing that we actually want to support, but it would be things along those lines, would be operations. Things for doing missions, right? Over here is going to be our science and habitation section. So we're going to have things like we're going to have habitation modules, we're going to have our science labs, our science experiments, things like that. So that's the overall concept there. If we need power modules, we can bring those up. I do want to have communications on the core here. So we should probably be running like an RA2 relay antenna on the core. And we could have that be attached like here, in theory, to the docking port. I wouldn't want it attached to all of the docking ports, but we could have it be attached to one of the docking ports, in theory. Is this up here considered a window? You know, I don't actually know. I think I should consider that a window. I don't really want to block the view. The purpose of having a cupola here is, because if we did that, that would block the view, right? If we did that. The purpose of having this here is so that they don't get homesick. They have to be able to see Kerbin. So that sounds fine to me. I think we're just going to mount it out on the side like this, although having it mounted there is maybe not the best idea. Maybe it should be in the operations module. I think that does make sense, actually. Having it be in the operations module. So this would be nearly the entire thing. I don't think that we'll have monoprop storage out here. Monoprop storage, we're going to use monoprop to bring in the two additional ones. We're going to need a pilot here. I do think that we should have a probe core on this, absolutely. And what is our best probe core right now? The Probodobodine Hex? Where are we going to attach that? Not there. Indeed. Let's hop out of here and see if we have the science to grab something like a remote guidance unit. That would be a convenient thing to have here. That would definitely be a convenient thing to have. Let's see if we've got it. Let's see. Specialized control gives us the advanced reaction wheels. I think it's an unmanned tech. The Probodobodine Octo 2. So we could grab that. The remote guidance unit is too far away. We definitely can't get this yet. But we could grab the Octo 2. Which does give us attitude control by MechJeb. But let's go ahead and grab that for now. And let's hop back into the VAB, and let's see where we want to put this Octo 2. This is going to be nearly the entire core. Definitely. And the crew that we're going to be sending up is going to be fresh crew. Not you, Madbro. No, I see you waving your arms there. Get out of here. Get out of here, Madbro. You're not allowed near a spacecraft ever again. So the Octo 2 is pretty small, right? I don't like attaching it there. We could attach it here. That creates a potential point of weakness. We could strut this together, though. That would be very chewing gum and duct tape, which, of course, is very Kerbal. It would be something like this. So we've just got a tiny little Octo 2 wedged in there. That's definitely fascinating. I would like to also toss in a battery pack. And you know what? We've got space to do something silly. Like this, potentially? That is quite silly. No doubt about that. What if we turn the snap off and rotate them? I don't like these rotations. This is much better. About like that. So that's at least our temporary power system. That would be a very temporary power system indeed. We don't need this to be on 8x symmetry. Let's have that be on 4. Cool. So something along the lines of that. I do think that we should move it to be over here to be slightly more whoa. Connecting down there, huh? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That's acceptable. Cool. So we'll make it slightly more symmetrical like this. We've got no communications in here other than what's in the cupula module / built into our Hex 2. That should be enough for communicating with Kerbin, in theory. And this is very limited power generation. That is by design. Our power generation is not part of the core of the module. So this is the overall craft that we will start to build the station around. It's kind of short, but that's by design. So now we need to lift this thing, right? So the question then is, what are we going to lift it with? Well, we'll go with a TD25 here. And obviously we're going to do a fairly basic booster here. I do like my big orange tanks on the booster. And let's just color this one. I don't think that should be ISA. I think just pure white is fine for now. Or we could make the station like metallic. I think white is fine though. So that'll do for the moment. And now we want to grab ourselves a mainsail. By the way, another one of the main goals of this is that I don't want, and this is not part of the contract, but this is a like personal goal. I don't want to have space junk left over. That doesn't mean untrack the space junk. That means it doesn't exist. So that means we need a way to deorbit it if necessary. But I think that as long as we just have, yeah, that's 1.2. As long as we just have this should burn out before we reach orbital velocity, and that should be fine. And if I end up giving up on that goal, well, it's not part of the contract. It's just a personal goal here for that. So we'll see what happens with that. I think if we were to go with something like thoroughbreds, that would probably be overkill. Polluxes are almost certainly more than enough here. I don't think that connected to the actual decoupler there. Yeah, that's connected to the decoupler. Cool. So let's move this guy right on down to be about like this. Beautiful. And let's toss in our standard hemispherical fuel tanks. I'm going to have fuel flow going in like so. I want to make sure that we pull from these tanks first. That is the goal there. And then we're going to strut this together, and we can put this up in orbit right away. So that'll be absolutely fine. I'm just going to strut them at the bottom and at the top. Do we expect there to be any wiggling here? We should probably strut from here to here, just to be safe. Hopefully that won't have too much wiggling. Now, who do we need to send up in this? Honestly, nobody. But like I said, I'm going to hire new Kerbals for this. And what Kerbals are we going to hire? Like I said, a crew complement of 4. We need a pilot, we need an engineer, and 2 scientists. Because I do plan on having a science lab in the science module. And that's going to potentially draw a lot of power. We'll have to think about that. But for now, let's see what we've got here. Okay, we can grab Kelson. We can grab Kelgan. And that's a scientist and a pilot. So we need a scientist and an engineer. I was kind of hoping to have all of them be starting with a K. But unfortunately, that's not actually an option here. So we are going to grab, I think, Bilstead. And we're going to grab Melfort. Cool. Yeah, that'll do fine. So we're going to hop into the VAB. And how many people can we actually fit in this? I think only 1? Cupula module has a capacity of 1, right? I believe so. Yeah. So we're not going to have Jeb in this. I think we're going to send up Kelgin in the core module. And then we'll send up Bilstead with our operations module. And then we'll send our 2 scientists with our science modules. Or singular science module. I'm only planning 1 science module. Okay. So that seems decent. Let's save this and let's put this out on the pad. I think we're ready to launch. Not with this setup. Okay. Good thing I checked that staging. That would have been very awkward indeed. That seems fine. 1.68 thrust to weight ratio. Yeah, we'll lift this off, no problem. I don't think we need a fairing. We've kind of got a makeshift fairing here. I just left instead of putting it on the pad. I definitely clicked the wrong button there, but we can use the launch pad to get there a little bit quicker. Cool. As soon as this loading screen is done, there we go. We will, of course, launch the... Where are we? Here we go. The station core. So we're going to launch this. Oh, Jebediah's in it. Oh, I'm dumb. Okay. I don't want Jebediah in here. So we're going to have to take this back to the VAB, get Jeb out of there. I know you're very eager to go, Jeb, but you're not slated for this mission. So we're going to head back here to the vehicle assembly. We got to get Jeb out of there, and we're going to put our original pilot back in. And this time, hopefully, I don't press the wrong button. So we're going to put in Kelgin. Beautiful. Also, I saw this kind of jump when we put it out on the pad. Hopefully, that's not a major problem, but we'll see. And yes, we're dumping a lot of money into this. There's no doubt about it. Hiring 4 new Kerbals is quite expensive. But I wanted all new Kerbals to man this station. Absolutely. So, we're going to throttle up, SAS on. I'm just keeping an eye on this situation. Seems okay. And... Right, yeah, we got those contracts done. That's fine. So, let's throttle up, SAS on, and off we go. We don't have tail fins. We're not a super long rocket. Our gimbaling is likely enough. It's definitely not as stable as I'm used to. Okay. Well, there's no doubt about that. We're going to park on prograde for the time being, and we'll just leave it there. Cool. Time to apoapsis is still increasing for the moment. And we do have a good amount of additional burn on these SRBs, so we are going to get a decent amount of speed out of them. Of course, these tanks are dry already, and that is exactly the plan. We designed it specifically for that reason. Cool. Time to apoapsis is still increasing. It looks like we're fine without fins. Excellent. 2, 1, and... Goodbye, SRBs. Beautiful. At this point, I want to be directly at the horizon, and this is the part where we hope that we don't tumble, but I think it feels okay. It's a little jerky with the gimbaling, but it feels fine. So what orbit are we going to target with this? That's something that we need to discuss. Actually, the contract specifically states whatever orbit we find to be reasonable, a reasonable altitude. And I think I'm going to target 250. It's a little high, but I think that's a good position for a refueling station, because once you get there and refuel from 250 kilometers, you can get anywhere super efficiently. So I think that's a good spot to put it. We're going to target 250 here. That, of course, means that we're going to be ditching this stage before we are in orbit, which was exactly the goal. Keep in mind, we don't have to have this full when we get there. In fact, we don't want it full. We'll refuel it later. So we're targeting 250 for our apoapsis. We're burning just at the horizon until we hit 250. We're at 215 right now. 235, 245, and 250. Engine shutdown. We can now extend our solar panels. Cool. The contract does state an equatorial orbit and 0.1 degree inclination. We can fix that inclination once we get our orbit stabilized. So we're going to add a maneuver here, and we'll just circularize that right at about 250 kilometers. Looks good to me. And let's slowly get rotated over here. Our reaction wheel actually doing work here. Wow, that's more responsive than I expected it to be. I like it. Cool. And yes, we have a ridiculous amount of delta V here, but remember, this is fuel storage. We're going to refuel other things with this. These tiny little solar panels looking kind of ridiculous. I like it. Okay, let's warp forward a little further. 30 seconds. 20, 10, and 3, 2, 1, mark. Let's circularize that orbit. Beautiful. Coast phase is over. We will want to fix this inclination, so we'll get that done after we're done with this burn. I want it to be at 0.0. We're not going to be, like, super precise with it. As long as it's within that tenth of a that tenth of a degree, it should be fine. Okay. Just shut down briefly there as we switched over because I wanted to see what our apoapsis was. Apoapsis, periapsis. Okay. I do want to circularize this just that tiny little bit more. I mean, that's probably good enough. It'll do for now. We do need to get that inclination change done. So let's take a quick look at our maneuver here. Okay. Timing is likely wrong there. Cool. 0.0. Ooh. Yeah. 0.0 inclination. Cool. 1.4 meters per second. So let's grab that and let's make our way on over. This is going to be a 0.2 second burn. So in fact, we can target anti-normal now. That'll be very convenient. Let's thrust limit this down to just 1% thrust. And really, we probably don't need to unthrust limit this guy from here. So that'll be fine. We'll bring this on around. And let's get this inclination fixed. Not much of a fix, but there we go. And this is our core module basically in position at this point. So of course, we're going to send up 2 additional modules for now, and I'm thinking about a power module. That might be like a sub-module off of the operations module. We'll see. We'll see. But we've got 40 seconds here. 20, 10, and commencing burn in 3, 2, 1, 0. Now, this is a very low power burn, right? We're changing by 1.2 meters per second. And it's going to take us, like, 20 seconds to burn this. That is, of course, fine. Beautiful. Inclination of 0.0. I like it. So that's fine. We are... I think that this is within a reasonable distance. Yes, we could tweak it to make it a little bit more exact, but it's going to get jostled around as we bump into it with docking parts. I think this is close enough. We can strut those on and fix the orbit later if we feel like we really need to. For now, this will do. So I'm going to just position us pointing prograde, and that'll be great. For now, of course, it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Actually, we should be pointing, like, a radial direction. I want the cupola module to be pointing towards Kerbin. So we should be pointing towards radial in here. Beautiful. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadow Wolf, Mlohan80, Rogue Corvid, Kentogan, Andy Magar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.